So there's a difference between responsibility and accountability. And so accountability is not mandated. That's the other thing. You can't say to people, you've got to be accountable. You got to be accountable. Well, I can say that to you, but it's not going to work. People have to want to be accountable. When someone wants to be accountable, it's a different relationship. Accountability, Michael and I were talking about this at the break. The accountability is the outflow from an environment that inspires and prioritizes accountability. That environment is called company culture. It's your organizational culture that must inspire accountability. It doesn't start with accountability. That's where it ends up. But when you create a place where people want to be accountable, then amazing things start to happen. I met the team from Puerto Rico. Where are you guys that I met? Hey, there they are back there. You need to meet these folks. They love what they do. I met a store owner, a store manager, and he's been with you for 2 years. He says, I love it. He says, I'm not just telling you that. He says, I love it. And he puts his hand up by his heart. And I said, why do you love it? And he says, it's our culture. And he started talking about the culture and what's in your culture. And Bill this morning, I mean, we know what Bill's culture is, right? Okay. We can appreciate that. Here's the thing. I sat there and I'm wondering, does he really show that video to everybody after they start? But let me tell you something. There was so much clarity in what that culture is in his organization. You know his people get that. You know they understand that. And when they know what the culture is, they can live the culture. Now, there's two types of culture. There's culture by design, and there's culture by default. Every organization has a culture. Culture by default means that there's an omission, that something's been left out, that it lacks consistency. There's no consistency either or collectively in how the values are defined. There's a lack of consistency in the understanding of the values collectively by everyone. Or there's an inconsistency in whether or not the values are being lived day in and day out. And when that inconsistency exists in an organization, then what happens is you end up with a culture by default. That means you get treated differently than you for whatever reason. Or people act different. Or it's different in one store than another. Now, culture by design. A culture by design is we say this is what we value as an organization. And then not only is there clarity in those values, there's understanding in everyone, not just the leaders in this room. I'm talking 55,000 people understand what the values of the organization are. And as leaders, that's our responsibility. That rests on us. And when everyone knows what those values are and you're making decisions on those values and you're modeling the values and you're teaching them and you're coaching to them, you're hiring from them, and yes, you are firing to them. And your associates all know what those values are. That's powerful.